Our skulls are precious and vulnerable, which is why all cyclists are advised to protect them with a safety-tested helmet. Aniruddha Sarabi was lucky to be wearing one when he crashed his bike in 2009.
I was riding my bike wearing a helmet, and a guy opened the door. I hit the door, I did a couple of somersaults and fell straight on my head. The helmet was completely cracked, completely unusable.
Aniruddha escaped with whiplash and concussion, but the sight of his cracked helmet got him thinking about new designs.
I started looking into nature, different animals which sustain the same amount of impact when they crash. And one of the main animals which stands out is the woodpecker. And the woodpecker pecks at about 10 times a second, and every time it pecks it sustains the same amount of force as us crashing at 50 miles an hour. What the woodpecker has, it's got a soft corrugated cartilage structure in between its beak and the skull, and every time it pecks, it starts to sustain that amount of energy, and that's one of the reasons why it doesn't get a headache.
Aniruddha found a way of arranging paper into tiny honeycomb structures to mimic the woodpecker's crumple zone.
So when you look at a close-up version, that's one layer of honeycomb cells, and then that's the second layer, but the second layer is slightly offset. What you end up is with tiny little airbags throughout the helmet. So when you have a crash, what these airbags do is they go pop, 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 and they go all the way to the bottom without cracking.
Official safety tests showed that the new helmets absorbed 3 times the amount of energy as conventional polystyrene ones, which would reduce the risk of brain injury. I really like the science behind this, but are people really going to buy a paper helmet?
I actually think the public will accept it, because if you think about it, stuntmen have been jumping onto cardboard boxes which are all made out of paper. They risk their lives from 5-story buildings purely because they know that paper actually works.
One version of the paper helmet is already available to buy, but Aniruddha is working on a new collapsible model to be sold at bike hire stations like the ones you find here in London and around the world. The hope is to make helmets more accessible and cycling a whole lot safer. Ayan Panja, BBC News, London.